Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some key hands from the Facebook group home game. So at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night, that's UK time. So I guess that must be what, like midday Pacific and 3 p.m. Eastern. We play a home game on PokerStars. It's open to players from around the world. It is a play money tournament, which means that players in the United States can play. There have been some questions like, oh, can we play a real money game instead? But I want to make it available to everybody. So yeah, in order to do that, we need to make sure that it is play money. So yeah, if you're interested in joining, I'm going to put a link in the description down below. So check out the link to join the Facebook group. And then once you're in the Facebook group, you'll see the instructions on how to join this home game. All right then, so the first hand that we're going to take a look at is classic pocket pair versus pocket pair. So aces versus jacks. Let's take a look. So it folds to Percival with the pocket jacks, and he goes for the raise. We're playing really, really deep here, 165 bigs deep. Must be quite early on in the tournament. And I'm going to butcher this name, but Prestadig is going to go for the 3-bet. And I think this 3-bet is way too small. I think it's almost like a classic sizing tell when you're like, okay, I've got a really strong hand, but I don't want to scare off my customer, which is, you know, something that we should never really be thinking about. Yeah, we definitely want to be going much bigger here. I think going to something like 3.5x would be pretty good this stack depth. Then Percival goes for the almost 4x 4-bet, which again, you know, there probably are going to be some 4-bets here. I think you can call or 4-bet, but I think this sizing is just going to be way too big. So yeah, I would just go a lot smaller on a 4-bet, maybe something less than 3x. So something, I don't know, something between 20 and 24 bigs, I think would be much better on a 4-bet. And you can also just flat too. Call with the aces, I really like this. I think this is the way to play it. We'll get to the flop, and the SPR is just over 2, and we see Percival just go for the open rip. And yeah, I don't think this is going to be the way to play the hand. I think it's just yeah, just sort of overplaying the hand. Obviously, we can see like, okay, yeah, well, jacks just run into aces, but yeah, Prestadig's going to need to have some sort of hand to call here. And given that he's 3-bet and then called and big 4-bet, the range of hands is pretty strong, right? It's going to be queens, kings, aces. If he has a hand like ace king, then that might have chosen to 5-bet. So yeah, I just don't. I mean, the thing as well is that ace king isn't going to call versus this jam, right? So yeah, I think you're only just going to get called by better. Occasionally, you could have a hand like ace 10 suited, I suppose. But yeah, I think you just want to use a smaller sizing if you are going to bet. If you're in Percival's shoes here. Prestadig did call. I mean, the result doesn't matter, but I know how much some of you love the result. And the jack comes on the turn, and Prestadig's going to bust, and Percival is going to take that one down. All right, so the next spot we're going to take a look at is a blind versus blind spot. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so it folds to Misclick Donkey in a small blind with ace king suited. It goes for the 3.5x, which I think is good. And ace 10 off goes for the 3-bet, and we see a 4-bet from the small blind. I think ace 10 off is pretty close here. It's between wanting to just fold and call. It's only it's a small 4-bet, so calling is probably absolutely fine, but it's got to be, I would say, pretty close. Let's go for the call. Flop comes 5-3 deuce, and Misclick Donkey chooses to check, and then we see a pot size bet from big blind S Mills 40 here. And the thing is that the small blind's 4-betting range in this spot is going to be pretty strong. And so we're very rarely in the big blind shoes going to get a better hand to fold here. So ace king, ace queen, just not going to fold. 2 overs, gut shot, very often can have, say, a backdoor flush draw as well. So unlikely to fold. Okay, yeah, I mean, it is a huge bet. But yeah, I think this is just not what you want to be doing, going for the pot size bet here. The sizing doesn't really make sense either. I mean, you know, you're going for a pot size bet and then you're going to leave yourself like just over a third left. So yeah, it doesn't really make sense from a sizing, like I guess a theory point of view. So yeah, Misclick Donkey does call, and then yeah, I mean, the price now, he needs 22%, as you can see up here. And I think that he just believes that S Mills has enough bluffs in his range here where he can just we can just call it off. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this. I just think that, you know, both players may be putting too much money in with you know, less than stellar holdings. But as I said, like Misclick Donkey clearly believes that there are enough bluffs in S Mills' range to go for the call. But yeah, I think I would have either gone for a smaller bet from S Mills's shoes or in S Mills's shoes, or just gone for a check back on the flop. I think just way too many chips went into this pot. All right, so the next hand we're going to take a look at, it's a really straightforward hand once we've gone past the pre-flop raise, but it's going to be a classic flip, queens versus ace king. Let's take a look. So Misclick Donkey goes for a 3.5x here, and I think this is way too big. If you look at the stacks around the table, you can see, sure, Misclick Donkey does have 140 bigs, and I've got 140 bigs on the button. But yeah, the other players in the hand sort of 60, 70, 80 big blinds. So yeah, no reason to go 3.5x here. The other thing is there are only 5 players left, right? So there's only 0.64 big blinds in the middle, so you don't need to go like super huge as a normal, a standard raise size here. So I think going 2.3, 2.5 would be fine. 3.5 just seems way too big. Fold to Paddy Jim goes for the 3-bet. I think this is fine, and then you just get it in, and it's just a classic flip. But yeah, I think I would go for a smaller raise size with pocket queens. The rest of the hand plays itself. All right, so the next hand we're going to take a look at is a 3-bet pot. It's going to be cutoff versus button, and I think there's a missed C-bet here. Let's take a look. All right, so Misclick Donkey goes for the raise, 2.5x. With the stacks as they are now, I think you can probably go down to 2.3, 2.2, 2.3. But yeah, that's a small thing. King Queen off goes for the 3-bet, and I think I'll go a little bit bigger here because when it folds back round to Misclick Donkey, he does have a pretty good price here. So I think going to like 3x might be slightly better. But yeah, this is where we're at. Misclick Donkey goes for the call. Flop comes Jack, Jack 6, Rainbow, and Percival goes for the check back. And I think this is a mistake. I think this just is a very, very clear C-bet for a small size, something like 20% pot, maybe even less than that. If he does go for the C-bet, I think 9-8 suited versus that small C-bet is supposed to continue. But yeah, I still think that King Queen off is a C-bet here. Turn is a 5 of spades, pretty interesting card given the Misclick Donkey has 9-8 of spades. And then we see a bet from King Queen off, and I think at this point King Queen off should just be a check back. You can still be ahead of some hands that choose to call the 3-bet. Hands like King 10 suited, King 9 suited, Queen 10, Queen 9 suited, like those sorts of hands jump out straight away. So yeah, I think I would just go for the check back. From Misclick Donkey's point of view, he goes for the call here. I think this is a great spot to just jam actually. So you have you have a straight draw and a flush draw, and you can get some better hands to fold, hands like this that have chosen to bet on the turn. So yeah, I think I would go for the slightly more aggressive line from the cutoff's shoes. The river is the 8 of hearts, and Percival now goes for the jam, and I think it's pretty close here. Misclick Donkey does go for the call. I do think it's pretty close on a call here, but I think the solver's probably going to go, yeah, we need to call most of the time in this spot. So yeah, I think the way that this hand should have played out is that Percival bets small on the flop. The turn then probably goes check check, and on the river Misclick Donkey goes for a value bet potentially, and King Queen off folds. All right, so this next spot then, I actually think I might make a mistake in this hand. It's Queen 8 suited versus 2s. Pretty interesting flop and turn, but let's take a look. I'll go for the open with Queen 8 suited, and big blind calls with 2s. Flop comes 9-9-2, check, small bet. I think I'm going to see a small bet, pretty much all the time on this board, and Misclick goes for the call, which I think is really good. I think he's going to call 2s and 9-2 suited, and then do a lot of raising with 9x and lots of other hands. The turn then is the Jack of Diamonds, and I choose to go for the overbet, which I think is fine. Like, there are going to be hands in our range that we want to go for the overbet here with, we can get a 2 to fold. We can certainly get some better hands to fold now. Hands like King High and Ace High that have decided to, call flop but then can't continue on the turn. The thing is that we can get quite a lot of those hands to fold still with a smaller bet size as well. So yeah, I think going for something like 55%, 60% pot on this turn rather than the geometric overbet might actually be better. Obviously 2s is loving life at this point. The river is the Queen of Clubs, doesn't really change anything. And Misclick goes for the lead. And I think that this is a mistake. I just don't think there are going to be any leads on this river card. In my eyes, like, I was fairly confident that I never had the best hand here, but I don't think we get to fold this that often. You know, it would suddenly be very, very easy if we start folding all of our top pairs here for the big blind to exploit us by just doing something funky. But yeah, I think from a theory point of view or a solver point of view, it's just going to be pure check on this river. The rivers to lead is when things change significantly, right? And that card doesn't really change significantly in the big blind's favor. So I don't think that we should ever be leading here from the big blind shoes. I chose to call. I mean, I think we're supposed to call some frequency of the time, but then the big blind's not really supposed to do any leading on this river card. So yeah, who knows? Okay, so the next spot then is a bit of a blind versus blind war. Let's see if we can spot some mistakes in this hand. Okay, so folds to the small blind then with 30 bigs, goes for the 3x, which is absolutely fine. And aces here, misclick decides to min 3-bet. And again, it's like the aces that we saw earlier against pocket jacks. The 3-bet size is just way too small. So I actually think that at 30 big blinds, aces, blind versus blind here is just a flat. I think it's a perfectly good hand to do that with, and you've got lots of other hands that you can 3-bet, but we're not going to be 3-betting to a min raise here. I think that's just that is a mistake here. Maybe it was a misclick, or maybe this was a misclick. King 8 off decides to go for the jam, just runs into it. But yeah, I mean, King 8 here versus normal size 3-bet, I think King 8 off is just going to be a raise fold. But versus this size, I think you just go for the call. Cost you 2 big blinds into a pot of 8.36 already. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't jam in this spot. I think it's just massively overplaying. So as I said, like you can raise fold against a normal size 3-bet. Against a small one, they just go for the call. All right, so now we're heads up, and I think there's a pre-flop sizing mistake here as well. Let's take a look. So 20 big blinds effective. I go for the min raise with ace king, and we see a small 3-bet again with king queen off. I think king queen off actually at 20 bigs heads up is just going to be a jam. So I mean the hand's going to play exactly the same in the end. But I think that, yeah, I think king queen off should just be a jam. The thing is that, you know, we're going to have a lot of hands here that we can raise fold versus a jam versus a 1.5x extra call. Like we're just going to make a call here a lot of the time, and that's not what you want to do when you're out of position with king queen off here. So yeah, I would just jam. The hand plays out. I mean, it's exactly the same. You know, we just get all in two players with big cards. But yeah, I think the sizing mistake here is you should just go all in. If you do want to have a 3-bet, you can just go to something like 3x. At 20 big blinds heads up, we do start to see some 3-bets less than all in around 20 big blinds, and so yeah, I think it'd be fine to go for a 3x 3-bet here, but not with king queen off. I think king queen off is definitely pure jam in this spot. All right, so here's the final hand then. It's not the final hand from the tournament. Shout out to Misclick Donkey who did take this tournament down. I sadly finished in second place. Commiserations for me. But yeah, this is the final hand that I wanted to talk about, the one that I think you know, there's the most sort of strategic advice I can give in this spot. Let's take a look. So fours goes for the min raise. We're playing 35-ish big blinds deep. I call here with king 7 suited. Flop comes king jack 10, and we see a big bet from fours. And I think fours is just going to be a check back here. Maybe get to do some betting here with fours with a club. But it's such a nasty spot if you get check raised. I mean, maybe it isn't. It's not nasty, you just fold. But I think that you're putting too much money in here. So I would just check back on the flop. Obviously I'm going to go for a call here. Turn is a 10 of spades, and we see a double barrel. I think fours now, you know, if you are going to bet the flop, you need to check back the turn. Although having said that, I mean, you know, our exact hand really doesn't like this on the turn. But you know, we're going to have plenty of other hands. We're going to have flushes. We're going to have some 10x. We've potentially folded, you know, a decent number of jack X on the flop already, and you know, and 10x as well. But we are going to still have some very strong hands to be able to continue here. So I just don't think the double barrel makes too much sense. We go for the call, and the river, yeah, just goes check check. So yeah, I think I would have played this hand a lot more passively. I think on the flop you just go for a check, and on the turn, yeah, if you are going to bet the flop, then you should check the turn as well. All right, so I'm going to wrap this video up there. Hope you enjoyed it. If you are interested in joining my Facebook group, then check out the link in the description down below. And hopefully then I'll see you in the next home game as well. All right, I'm going to wrap things up there. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.